Hi, in this slide I want to expand on the Heath brothers concept of scripts. How do you take an idea, an abstraction like wellness, and turn it into some specific little health improvement script? Or in business, we think about here's an idea, how do we turn that into actually making net profit money at the bottom line? And from a zooming in, from the big picture down to from the macro down to the micro, kind of a three-step process. We start off with a vision like, oh, I'd like to be healthier. Then we think about, well, what are guidelines for good health? Well, don't eat more calories than you need, get regular exercise, those kind of things. But then we need a specific little recipe or routine we're going to try to do one at a time. And these are scripts. In the book, Switch, they came with a great story about the state of West Virginia was going broke, as all states are, on Medicare and Medicaid costs. And one of the problems was lots of people were getting very obese. Well, what are the main foods that create obesity and cause the most health problems? And if we had to boil it down to the highest leverage opportunity, what would it be? And they said, well, what if we try to cut down on dairy fat? So the idea was, all right, let's do some advertising on seeing if we get people to switch from whole milk to skim milk. Of course, they had to go get the farmers and the dairy people all on board with this and so forth. But then they ran a series of ads and they said, hey, are you drinking milk? Well, good for you, because these are the healthy, good things that come from milk. If you're drinking whole milk, however, there is a catch. This dairy fat that's in there, while it tastes good, it really has the fat equivalent of 5 strips of bacon. They showed 5 strips of bacon, and then they showed a beaker of fat that came from the 5 strips of bacon. They said this is bad for your arteries and your heart. So if you switch to skim milk, you keep all the positive things, and you get rid of the fat and the calories and the weight and the heart issues and so forth. And it has a little bit different texture because it's a sort of a thinner liquid. But most people say that after a couple of glasses of milk, they start to not even know the difference, and then they're on a new path doing well. So anyway, they did this little advertising campaign and claimed great success, and they maybe milk sales went up a little bit total, which pleased the dairy people, but there was a shift from 20% share from whole milk to skim milk. So that's an example of something that's visual. Hey, here's a glass of milk. Visceral. Here's the bacon fat in a beaker that's slathering up your heart and your arteries and gives you this much more calories that then make you fat. So people could get that. It really spoke to them. And then, but it had a few simple parts to it. In business, generally what we do is we do our analytics and we say, gee, at this little high leverage spot, if we could change something and figure out how to automate that, then ordinary people can do extraordinarily better, more productive work. I mean, an example would be focused automation, for example, of French fry automation at McDonald's. When the McDonald brothers opened up their first restaurant, they only served lunch, and they only had 9 items on the menu, and people could not buy enough of their French fries. And so they evolved a very automated way of doing French fries, so they could have a very consistent high volume kind of capability. So by taking a very tight focus and find a script that works, then that scales very well. And this is how ordinary folks start to get extraordinary output. The ordinary folks aren't necessarily working harder. They're not even working smarter. We're giving them better tools and systems that make the numbers go up and make them look a lot more productive than they really are. They're doing it, but it's leveraging through the algorithms and the automation and the systems as much as it is teaching the people how to interact with the new system. So that's what we want to do with scripts. We want to take the big picture and boil it down to a very specific, concrete, visual, visceral, 2-3 part thing, and our goal is to have ordinary folks start to get extraordinarily better results. Thank you.